Hey guys, thanks for checking out the podcast. Before we get started, I want to remind you about the very cool bucket list trip I am doing in 2026, the Smitty Learns Irish podcast, where I'm going to do my bucket list, hike Ireland for a year, learn about Irish history, town by town, through the mouths of the pub owners and regulars. Because what's a better way to learn about something you love than to experience it yourself? Patreon.com/we3smiths, only $3 a month, and thanks for checking it out. You're hitting that wall. You're like, woo, I gotta take some time. I'm glad I did, because I came back and, it wasn't as profound as I was hoping it would be. I was hoping I would take a solid 3 or 4 days, because the last time I took 3 or 4 days at my Alpina Airbnb, I came back and wrote a 4-page resignation letter to the fucking radio station. I was just like, I came back hoping for some fresh perspective on all the struggles that I was having. And the first day back was the worst day, man, at the radio station. I was like, nope, I'm out. So I was hoping for something not profound, but just trying to figure out the hurdles. When I say the hurdles, I talk about the mental health thing all the time, just the anxieties and the worries. And there's so many similarities between when I was doing radio and doing podcast stuff. As I say many times, I had to work really fucking hard in radio in Northern Michigan. And honestly, this is a great segue into this next talking point that I want to make, which is one of the best anniversaries ever in my life. In radio, I started, 2007, February 2007, I started at the radio station, and pretty much since I was hired, I was kind of allowed to do whatever I wanted. It was kind of, I don't want to say unprecedented. There's other radio people that have just kind of got to do the same thing. Just impose your will on people, on listeners, and the bosses, like what you do. So they're like, yeah, let them keep going, there was a lot of help along the way. I had great co-hosts on the radio. I had great friends and coworkers and things like that, and a great support system at the radio station. But it was a struggle. So I say all the time, especially doing this podcast and transitioning into the internet realm, I'm not the type of person that you're going to probably gravitate towards right away. It takes a certain amount of me just wearing you down and going, oh man, I kind of like what he does. He kind of comes off like a loudmouth fucking asshole, but maybe there's a little more to it, hopefully. But it takes time to build. And the similarities between doing the radio show and the podcast, I'll get into that. But the anniversary... The anniversary of coming back to the radio station after getting shit canned, because I have to break the story down, mostly for people that, are new to the podcast or whatever, or maybe haven't heard the story. But was it 2017? Look at the fucking memory, Smith. Yeah. 2017. I'll do it in as much detail as I can, but keep it as brief as I can. It might be a long story, though. Doing the afternoon show for a dozen years. I was pretty fucking well established. Ratings were good. And I had heard that from a buddy of mine, Tim, texts me and goes, this fucking guy on the afternoon show, dude used to work at our company. I kind of knew how he operated and kind of knew that he was kind of a shitty person, But he goes, this guy who's doing the afternoon show on the other competing rock station just totally ripped off your bit. The bit was called The Box. I did it at the same time every day for a fucking dozen years almost. And I'm just like, I would say, oh, it's The Box. We're going to pull a song out of the box you haven't heard on the radio in a while. And that was the gist of that. And he goes, this motherfucker is doing a segment called The Bag. At the same time, pretty much, you're doing The Box. And we're going to pull a song out of a bag that you haven't heard on the radio in a while. And I'm like, God, Jesus. And I made the biggest fucking deal in the world. I called this motherfucker out hard on the air, actually played a clip of him doing this bit, and used words like fuck, but were bleeped. I think I said something like, if you were in front of me, or if I could reach through this microphone, I would punch you in the face. I'm like, you fucking rip-off artist. And I kind of went into his history as a rip-off artist. Documented history. It's all alleged, by the way. Uh, and that was it for a while. And I actually posted it to SoundCloud. Now, not only was it on SoundCloud, and I shared it to my personal social media going, fuck this guy, which he commented on. He goes, you want to fight in the backyard of a playground like a bitch? No, I just call people out with words and then make them look stupid. But somebody, and I know who, more or less, took that bit on SoundCloud, along with another bit on SoundCloud, which was another video that Tim sent me of this song that was just a funny cunt, hunt, you're a cunt, cunt, cunt. It was all internet, And some fucking buddy, I know who, I pretty much know, took those two bits, put them together, sent them off to advertising agencies, and insinuated that it basically all went on the air. Is this the guy you want representing your company? You sponsor that show, blah, blah, blah. And I was probably 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. Hey, the shit is hitting the fan because of this email that was sent to all these advertisers. You're gone. That was fucking it. There was no questions. There was no anything. And because they had thought that all of that went on the air. And that was it. I was done. And what the fuck am I going to do? I go to Right Brain. I got a job at Right Brain Brewery, bartending. And then over the course of several months, when was that? July of 2017? Yeah. Then in October of 2017, after what I have to, let me just play this bit. I'm actually going to share this on the video of my first show back. It's the first talk break. Talk break is just whatever segment, how long you talked for in between songs. I should say after all sorts of like soap in the mouth shoots for the promotion of Smitty coming back, which was fantastic. This whole promotion, just honestly, that soap was awful. But that Smitty's back, I promise to be a good boy banner, I think I was told that it was going to be a billboard, but I had forgotten that it was going to be on a billboard, and I was just at the light at 3 Mile and 31. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was like the coolest campaign to bring me back, because once I think the owners realized what was happening, mixed with I can't even really describe it, man, just hundreds and hundreds of social media love and correspondence into the radio station saying, what the fuck? It really did culminate into this huge fucking comeback thing. And they decided to bring me back. And the way that we decided to have me come back, they had hired somebody else for the morning show, or excuse me, for the midday show. And we set up a bit that they were going to do the welcome party for the new DJ in the middays and announce the new afternoon show host at Right Brain, the place where I worked. And I was like, oh, these motherfuckers, how could you do such a thing? And had this whole campaign titled Team Smitty. Let me grab this fucking tease. This is honestly one of my favorite goddamn pictures, probably of all time, because it just fucking made me so happy. Those are good friends of mine, Rick and Nikki Jurowitz. Rick is a fantastic author, horror author, and Nikki is a wonderful baker, 100%. But it just had this whole culmination. And then, gearing up to this day when I came back on the radio, it was like, hey, we're going to have this party tonight. And then, let me display this so you can see this video of my first break back. And then I'm going to discuss it and just why it was so impactful and pivotal to me. How do I do this? Just like this. Yay! With the intro that I still have, mind you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Stoke level is at level 11.
I can't believe this is happening. I'm so fired up. Action!
Honestly, when I say the Stoke level was level 11. Also, when I watched this, I'm like, oh my God, how fucking in your face of a DJ was I that I really tried to transition into the podcast realm for a minute until I figured out how to relax.
Holy cow! Did I ever think this was going to happen 3 months ago? No, I did not. Smitty on Rock 105 and 95.5. Back from summer vacation.
Stop yelling.
Today is going to be a huge slurp fest. Phones are open, 888-955-1051. The text lines are open, 888-955-1051. I'm going to have guest Radio Batman. He's coming in studio. He's going to do Hollywood Hell with me, sit in for a little bit. And, of course, we are rocking it out at Right Brain tonight. Huge party. I am the most nervous I've been to be on the air in so long right now. Coming up today, I'm going to fill in one person on what exactly happened 3.5 months ago, not weeks ago.
I forgot I did that. Because we couldn't necessarily talk and give details about what happened, trying to avoid that kind of thing. So I had one person call, and I just recorded the conversation and then bleeped out all of the details and had them go, oh my God, wow. Leave people guessing.
I'm going to have your 420 break. I will have Tom Petty for the box. It is Foo Ride today. NASCAR Steve's in studio with
also, like an egotistical fucking dickhead, I had the box, and I played Tom Petty, the last DJ, and I was like, I kind of feel that.
Playing Race Report. At some point, I might play Stuttering Smitty. I don't even know if I have that file anymore saved. But, yeah, I'm back, man, and details on Right Brain coming up in just a bit. Whoo! Now I'm going to crash from this adrenaline rush. No rain, it's Blind Melon, Rock 105 and 95.5. Thanks, all.
Seriously, I 100%, especially watching back old podcasts now, like the first handful of podcasts, doing it solo and trying to have that amped up presentation. It's so fucking brutal to watch.
We're sitting there at 48, and again, we still got our proper guys.
Okay.
We're ready.
We will, but not right now. Not right now, Brad Holmes. I could listen to you talk football all day, but now is not that time. But man, it was just such a pivotal moment, that whole build-up, and then talking to people. Because when I say the similarities of, the struggles, I didn't know I was good at radio for the longest time. I thought I sucked. I thought I was the worst. With the stuttering Smitty thing and not being able to formulate fucking thoughts on the air. But what was always told to me that people like that you're genuine, and I actually had a conversation one time with Cartman, who was a morning show host, and it was a kind of deep conversation where I just didn't feel like I was good at all. I felt like I was terrible. And then imposter syndrome, that's the best way to put it. I just feel like a total outsider. But then, seeing all the support and seeing all of the genuine comments about why they liked your show and why they liked you. And I had people coming to the bar when I was working at Fresh Coast and saying, are you Smitty? Yeah. Well, nice to meet you. And really just went out of their way to say something along the lines of, man, you were the one guy that I listened to. You were the one guy that when something happened, I wanted to tune it in and hear what you had to say. And I had a lot of people say things like that. And that was kind of one of those things. You get enough people, not only listeners, but I'm talking about bosses who've been in radio for 30, 40, 50, 60, a million fucking years, people that have molded huge talent before have told me, keep doing what you're doing. You're fucking awesome at this. So you get enough people telling you you're good at these things, you kind of go, oh. And I finally just had a fucking moment, man. a real breakthrough moment where I had finally realized that holy fucking shit, I really am good at this. I can't tell you how impactful that was, to finally figure out your worth, to figure out what you're good at, to figure out what you enjoy doing and why you enjoy doing it. And really the main reason I really fucking enjoy making people's day feel better, making people feel better and have a good day, lifting up moods, talking about things from a different perspective than maybe they're hearing or something along those lines, I fucking love that shit. And I just, my whole life, I kind of just always try to figure out and knew that I had something to say and but didn't know how to do it. But once I've figured out your worth, oh, you're really good at this as long as you're comfortable. As long as you're in a place where you're comfortable. But then again, starting the podcast and trying to fucking struggling with the format. And then I did the Sunday morning talk practice and kind of just had breakthroughs right there. I'm like, and it allowed yourself to fucking calm down, And lately, I have had the same sort of fucking imposter syndrome things, confidence issues. So when the memories popped up today, and again, over the course, I've kind of worked myself back from vacation the last week or so. Did a couple live streams yesterday and have felt better, and felt a little bit better here, a little bit better there. Kind of realizing that the things I was having confidence issues on were total bullshit. Once you realize that your brain makes up these things and you can see through it, it makes it a little bit better. Okay. So realizing that some of these fears are bullshit and that some of the confidence issues you had, you just totally made up. Realizing that, and then these memories hit. You're like, okay. It's just one of those things. I like to say all the time, I thrive on reminders. I forget shit pretty fucking easy, just in general in life. But in the big life lessons too, people have a tendency to forget, man. So when I liken it back to how hard it was and how much of a struggle it was in radio getting going, it got better. And you gained an audience and you did a thing. And it was super hard getting this podcast going. But you're building an audience. You're doing a thing. It's the same feelings like it was before. When you're down, just remember that you've been down before and you fucking came back from it. I love it. And I love the fact that I'm kind of figuring that out more and more and more. You're going to have your shit days. You're going to have your shit weeks. You're going to have your shit months. And So man, I actually had I've had people ask me several times, lots of times. You came back and you're triumphant and you came back to the afternoon show and you did these, your ratings were top notch and fucking things were going places. Why did you leave? And that was one of those things where I was just like, I kind of was already, I don't want to say I was over it, kind of over some of the decisions that were being made and the presentation that was being made. But when I came back and there were some new people involved that I wasn't down with and some decisions that were made that I wasn't down with, and it is progressively over like the year, I was like, okay, I kind of see the writing on the wall of where this is going. So I'm going to leave. I was in with Right Brain. I was still working there part-time. I got what I thought was a pretty good opportunity. And it was. It just didn't really turn out to be kind of what I thought it was. So when a morning show opportunity popped up, I was like, I'm going to give that a shot. Never done mornings before. I think I could do it. Bring in a co-host. Yeah, it'll be awesome. Great buddy. And then COVID hits. And then you're fucking... all of the things that you disliked before are just amplified 100%. And you're like, well, I'm fucking out of here. Just all the things, man. I honestly, it's so hard to even listen to radio anymore. I'd like to say, anytime you're feeling like, you miss it or whatever, and just turn the radio on. And you'll be like, okay, that's why. Is what I listened the other day. And I still listen to, a couple friends. But I heard this like PSA. It wasn't a commercial necessarily, just a PSA. That was saying, you should go to broadcasting school. Broadcasting's so exciting, blah, 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 blah. And it can be, But just like, by the same token, why the fuck, when I say you, it's a general you. Doesn't necessarily single out one radio station or just generalize for all radio stations, but so many. Why don't you fucking hire new talent, When was the last, how many Specs Howard School of Broadcast Arts graduates have you hired? When was the last time? Because when I started, I was a Specs Howard graduate. Good buddy Ryan, good buddy Tim, good buddy Cartman, good buddy Susan, all Specs Howard graduates. They didn't necessarily start there, but that's the whole fucking point of having a small market. And there's a lot of distaste, I will say, about the sound of a small market from some people. It just sounds small market. The beauty of a small market is that it's still, small market radio, mind you, is that it still has personalities running things by and large. That's the only thing that is going to save fucking radio, because all these fucking radio stations that are buying up every radio station on the country, call it Greater Media, call it iHeart, whatever, just are literally taking jocks and putting them on fucking 60, 70 stations around the country. All of the small market radio stations now, a lot of them are following the same models. You're hiring talent from out of the area. People, a lot of times people with names in like bigger areas like Detroit or whatever, we'll have them come fucking voice track. Let's record shows on the station, and it just loses whatever sort of magic radio can still provide or could provide. There's all of like, there's no personnel in these fucking offices anymore. It's all skeleton crews. They're doing all the work, and then all the shows are tracked out of area. So it's just like, if you're gonna have PSAs saying how awesome radio is, you should get into radio. Why don't you start hiring people, to do the job, to do the work, because you're a fucking huge part of the problem. A huge part of the problem, but keep on buying radio stations and doing the same thing. I'm sure that'll make things better for you. Anyway, that is my dislike, so to speak, of my former industry. I always think, would I ever go back? And yeah, I probably would go back if I found the right situation. Not here in northern Michigan. I thought about, well, maybe when I'm done with the Ireland thing, I could find a radio job somewhere that I could like and just live life and do whatever, and not necessarily worry about the integrity of it. What's next as we move on? Hey, McTighe. I'm Sally Russell, and here's the weather in Sheboygan. That is an inside joke, but Sally Russell was, because what the fuck was it? When was that? That was probably circa 2009 or some shit. Sally Russell, I think, McTighe, if you're still on the live stream, who made that comment, by the way. I'm Sally Russell, and here's the weather in Sheboygan. I'm pretty sure, was that the Weather Channel personalities? I'm pretty sure it was actual Weather Channel personalities that would record their weather. And we would have to just edit them together, and throw them on. And they didn't know how to fucking pronounce Petoskey. They pronounced it as Petoskey or Gaylord rather than Gaylord or something fucking stupid like that. I'm wondering, were they actual Weather Channel people? I feel like they were. But anyway, that's a great example of out of the area. Hey, we'll just get some Weather Channel people. I'm like, why the fuck can't just first of all, the idea that radio stations have weather reports are pretty fucking stupid. In this day and age, I have 2 weather apps on my phone. I find out before the radio station knows. Plus, most of the time, if there's a fucking weather emergency, there's nobody in the goddamn radio station to make it any sort of time sensitive. It's supposed to go on the air. Anyway, I'm like, why can't we just read the weather? Why do we have to fucking have Weather Channel people? That's so stupid.
What the hell? Everything!